We've got a whole bunch of fun this week on the Dan K Show. But before we can get to that, we got to get back there. We've got the NCDC free game of the week, Jersey Hitmen, Islanders Hockey Club, and NCDC Title Series rematch. Who wins this one? You know by now, but you better watch the highlights on this week's episode and a lot more. Dan K Show coming up. Hello, Dan K Show fans. We did our cold open there from the Jersey Hitmen's Ice Vault Arena, and now we go to Dan K Show Studio B. We're in South Jersey. We had a wonderful day and an absolutely wonderful event. A friend of the show hosting a charity golf tournament, raising money for breast cancer awareness treatment, as something that's very close to our heart here. The movement of the Nicole Guglielmo charity golf tournament here. We were able to go out, support, and even came home a winner here. Dan K won 2 tickets to Bethpage for next year. The PGA Championship Sunday on the black course. Dan K's going to be there. Dan K's going to be watching. And now we have a little FedEx Cup standings of our own between Lucas and producer Lena to see who's going to be joining Dan, because there's only 2 tickets. Also won a flag from Baltusrol's PGA Championship, so it was a big day for me. We shot 9 under on the course, playing pretty well on the golf course, but now let's get to the players playing pretty well on the ice. And that's where we go to Dan K's 3 things. Thing number 1, 10 out of 12. 10 out of 12 NCDC teams after opening weekend split. 2 points. 1 and 1. What does that tell you? Parity aplenty. Even play, and also some of those early season jitters, right? Nobody wants to come out and just dominate. Thing number 2, hashtag Dan K bump or hashtag Dan K curse. Niagara Falls Thunder, chirping the Dan K Show. Twin City Thunder, chirping the Dan K Show and writing Dan K curse on their Twitter. Apparently because I picked them twice this weekend, they were struggling with the Junior Bruins. The Junior Bruins are a very tough team at the Premier level. Twin City Thunder came out, fought hard, fought back in both games, unable to get a W there at home, blaming me for it. Do I take credit for the losses?
I mean, that feels like a you problem.
No, I don't. I don't take credit for the losses. The Dan K bump is only positive. Unfortunately, because I picked against the Boston Junior Bruins, the Dan K bump actually went the wrong direction and picked them and worked for them, gave them a W, didn't give the Twin City Thunder that W, but I can guarantee you the Twin City Thunder will have a win here within the next 10 days. Within the next 10 days, I'll guarantee a Twin City Thunder win, and if they don't win, they can write to me and tell me what my punishment is, because they better win. The Dan K curse will never exist. There will never be hashtag Dan K curse. Thing number 3. Hitmen hit hard. And the NCDC Hitmen, this Jersey Hitmen team, may just be the best junior hockey team I've watched in the last 5 years. Those first 2 games, I have never seen a team with so many new faces look so talented, look so fast, and look so relentless. Not only do they win during our free game of the week, Dan K Show NCDC free game of the week, they also go out the next day and put up 55 shots on goal. As you hear, the bells are ringing for this one. But they put up 55 shots on goal against 18 in Game 2 and sweep the weekend. The only NCDC team to sweep the weekend, and they do it against IHC. Let's start there. Let's start the show, NCDC IHC. Just how good were these 2 teams?
It was a great game to watch, and a great weekend to watch as well. You had a lot of talented skaters on the ice. It's that familiar game, that familiar sight of IHC versus the Hitmen. A lot of names, I think, stood out, right? We have names on both sides, and it's one of those situations where, because the level of competition is so high, regardless of the final standings or the final win versus loss on the weekend, you had a bunch of names that really stood out for both teams. I'm looking at the Jersey Hitmen side of things. I'm looking at Michael Kane, who had 3 points with All three of them being goals.
Yeah, he had a hattie. The guy had a hattie on the Dan K Show free game of the week. I was able to go down to ice level. We have that interview with him. He got the hat. His guys were chirping him a bit that he was going to have to accept the hat. He told me he thought it should have been his teammate Ryan McKinchak, and I'll tell you what, McKinchak was lights out. Let's talk McKinchak. Let's go there. Ryan McKinchak, 2 days in a row, 1 goal allowed here over 2 games. Just how strong was he?
He was, I mean, astounding. Astounding in net. I think that's a really, really good word for what he was able to do. You know, not only was he really commanding in the crease and commanding between the pipes there, but he was getting around. He was playing the puck behind the net. He was skating out. He was doing all the things that you don't necessarily ask a goaltender to do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it makes you a little nervous to ask them to get out there and command the puck like that. But he was really being that on ice general. You know, he was a guy that's just stopping the puck, redirecting the puck, finding the puck, and the offense, as I think some of the players in the Hitmen said, the offense starts from the goaltender.
I'll tell you what, if you're in the extra noise, by the way, Dan K Show fans, that's a Dan K dog. That's Mattingly right there. It's my golden retriever. When we come down to Studio B, sometimes she's moving around the studio. It's like, some of these restaurants have the restaurant dog or whatever, or some of these places you go to. We got the Dan K dog. That's Mattingly running around, named after Donnie Baseball. You know that, folks. But, again, with McKinchak, 46 of 47. This guy's giving up half a goal over 2 games. My biggest takeaway from McKinchak in net is his rebound control. His ability to eat the puck, right? There were no second chance opportunities, and when there were, he closed that door. The only goal that went by him off the stick of Bobby Murray. And just how good was Mr. Bobby Murray. We talked about him all broadcast, and I remember saying, and it's on camera, I said, this guy's eventually going to put one home, Lucas. And he did just that. Talk about him. Apparently, he's a bit of a virtuoso as well.
Yeah, he's, you always get to see, families and relatives come out on like the Twitter broadcast and, they tweet at us, they follow the show, and you start to see those names pop in. And Bobby Murray was a huge kind of write-in vote for that player of the game. We learned a lot about him.
Yeah.
He has a lot of hobbies. He's a very, you want to talk about like building that complete person. Not only is he a great hockey player, really doing a great job for IHC just in the first 2 games, but he's a musician, composing and writing his own music, and really just a well-rounded kid who taking the center faceoffs for IHC this season.
Oh, he is a dangerous faceoff taker, but then once he starts skating around, he looks to me more like a left winger, or a right winger like a Matt Zuccarello. The guy looks like a real Zook-style player, kind of creative. Makes things happen. When he gets the space, he's going to be creative with it. It's interesting how he finds ways to get open, how he finds ways to put the puck in the net. A little bit different. But one other guy from IHC I want to talk about is Callie Anderson. And I saw you had him up on your screen there, Lucas. This guy faces 104 shots over 2 days against the Hitmen team that's not just taking bad shots. They're not firing. They're not entering the zone and just firing one on net. They're not taking shots from odd angles. They're taking shots in good positions, good places. And this IHC team stayed in this series because of Callie Anderson, the Stockholm, Sweden star. Anderson, very Lundqvist style in net. This guy stays deep in net. This guy's not getting out messing around. He's not going to put that high pressure on you. He's going to stay back, and he's going to trust his ability to be quick with the pads, quick with the glove, quick with the body, and he's made every stop he had to make. He couldn't do much more than he did this weekend.
No, and we try not to be biased, but I love a goaltender that stays in the crease. I like a guy that stays at home. For me, I think that's a very effective way to play the game as a goaltender, and I enjoyed watching him on the broadcast. If you want to talk about stiff upper lip goaltending, that's what Anderson was doing this weekend, facing just a firing squad of slap shots, wristers from the slot. Hitman playing the high-low game on him there, and just moving left, moving right, saving it with every pad. He even might have invented a pad or two to try to stop some of the pucks that were coming his way. He was amazing to watch in net. It's a tough first 2 games for IHC, but I think with the talent they've got, the season's going to be much brighter for them as they move forward.
It's going to get brighter. I mean, this is a good IHC team, but as Coach Sean Tremblay talked about, he's got 4 returners, only 4 returners. Also dealing with, and I would be, I couldn't live with myself not bringing up the tragic events up there near Merrimack College, up there in the North Andover area. A gas leak causing some problems there, and a lot of people displaced from homes. We talked to Jack Moran, defenseman for IHC, one of those 4 returners, one of the leaders on this team. And he's a guy who lives in the area, who was displaced from home. He's living with a billet family right now. Again, thoughts and prayers go out to all those folks out there in the North Andover area. We are here for you. If you need anything, always feel free to reach out to the Dan K Show. But with that in mind, it's time to move on here, Lucas. I want to talk a little Premier Elite. I want to talk a little DME. And I want to talk a little NCDC when we come back.
Back of the net for himself. Doherty's run over. He ends up with the puck, and they're going to throw it up front. And there's Farley with the breakaway. He's got a chance. He puts it up, and in the back of the net, it's a goal for the Richmond Generals.
Welcome back, Dan K Show fans. Now it's time to talk Premier and Elite hockey. Early in the year, not everyone's taking the ice yet, Lucas. We still got some teams that have still not debuted. One of those squads, the Florida Junior Blades. I saw them in the Premier. We always love the Blades. We always love the product they put out. You excited to see the Blades finally take the ice? I'm itching for it, aren't you?
I know, I'm excited. You know, we talked to that media team all throughout the offseason.
The best media team in the game.
And we kind of gauge off of their excitement, how excited we should be, and they seem pretty stoked about the upcoming season, so we are just as excited to see what the Junior Blades have in store, especially after, we've kind of seen them the last few years. We've kind of seen what they put on the ice and how tough they are as a team and how they're willing to just grind it out. So we're looking forward to their first game.
We're looking forward to, you know what else we're looking forward to? Our power rankings. Last year, one of our most watched things all year was our Premier and Elite Power Rankings episodes, where we took whole episodes out just to put our power rankings together. And with that in mind, we are 2 weeks away from our first release of the Dan K Show Premier and Elite Power Rankings. Want to know how powerful those power rankings were? We didn't put the Skipjacks Hockey Club last year in the top 10 on our first power rankings at the Premier level. And guess what happened? They didn't win 1. They didn't win 2. Not 3. Not 4. That team rolled off 9 straight victories. That team then won 13 of their next 14. They swept their next 3 showcases. And Coach Lenny Childs, at the time with the Skipjacks, now with the Charlotte Rush Premier, came up to us and said, "How about them power rankings, boys?" And started talking trash to us, and we loved it. We are excited for the power rankings. What we need you to do at home, put your own power rankings together. Let us know your top 5, your top 10, your top 3, your top 1. Who do you think is the best team in the Premier and Elite? Who are the best teams in the Premier and Elite? Let us know. Top 10 power rankings will be coming out in 2 weeks. It'll be a big episode, a highly watched episode, and a highly anticipated first power rankings. A team that may be the surprise at the start of the season. And it doesn't mean anything bad about them, but it's a team that last year they battled to get themselves back. And at the end of the year, you could see that improvement coming through. And they have a guy in Daniil Avdukin, who I will yell his name until I see a commitment and where this young man is going next. This year 98 is unstoppable, unbeatable, impeccable, stupendous. And DME Swamp Rabbits, Lucas, 4-0 at the Premier level to start the season. And Daniil Avdukin, this is a guy, and Lucas just put the stats up. You can't see it at home, but I'm looking at it right now on his computer. And now, you know what, Lucas, maybe throw that up here. Maybe you have that in front of the people already at home. 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points, leading the way for this team. And I can't imagine not mentioning Ilya Grekov. You know, his D-man, 8 assists. How about a defenseman with 8 assists here, Lucas? You gotta love that kind of player.
I specifically love that kind of player, Dan. I love watching defense. I love watching goaltenders, especially defensemen that get involved. Defensemen that know where to put the puck. They can watch the whole ice. You know, I know it's traditional, and I know that hockey now is starting to get away from the traditional mentality of offense. It's starting to get into that faster game nowadays. But I always love watching a team that isn't afraid to dive back into that defenseman at the blue line, defenseman at the point, even if it's a defenseman on a strong or weak side of the ice, who's moving that puck around, kind of cycling it around the different players, who's watching everything like a quarterback, right? And when you see a defenseman with no goals and 8 assists, 4 games into the season?
Yeah.
That's a guy who you need to be watching out for if you're the other team. That's your Tom Brady.
Yeah, oh no, and that's what this team has right now. They have leadership from back to front, And then they have a guy, Daniil Avdukin, that when others are struggling, he can go out there on his own and make things happen. And that's so important to have. That's how you win titles. And this DME team, a lot of chatter going on. We just had a couple talks with some folks around the hockey world, and we're excited to see what this DME team can do, especially with Avdukin there leading the way. I'm excited. He's excited. You know what we're excited to talk about now? These NCDC starts, the 1-1 starts in the NCDC. Luke is going to turn our way over to the NCDC on our handy dandy computer here. Where else can we start but the Boston Junior Bruins and New Jersey Rockets series? Lucas called the Rockets winning it. I called the Bruins winning it. Nobody called the split. Rockets come out of the gates fast and get that first win. We sent out a tweet from the Dan K Show talking about just how well the Rockets represent that NCDC development motto. Right, Lucas? They really represent that. How good was the elite team last year? How good was the premier team last year? And they've used that to build a roster and then bring in new faces, new bodies, guys looking to get to that next level, make the next big step in their career, and they've built an NCDC juggernaut. How good do they look? How improved do they look this year?
Well, they look great, and this is the point of the NCDC, right?
Yep.
The point of the NCDC, what we all hope for, what we all look for out of this, is to see kids that start at the elite and premier level, and they work through the system, and they earn their way up to the top to this NCDC, collegiate development model, and then they produce the kind of numbers, and they end up winning the kinds of games that the Rockets ended up winning this weekend. You've got a lot of familiar faces, you've got a lot of returners, you've got guys that have come in from other places. A jigsaw puzzle is full of a lot of different pieces, but it comes together to form one complete picture.
That's right, and the complete picture right now with the Rockets is this is not the same Rockets team as last year. Those struggles last year were for a reason. They were to build this powerhouse team that could really compete, really give people trouble. Speaking of powerhouses, speaking of teams giving people trouble, how about that CJR, the Connecticut Junior Rangers New Hampshire Monarchs series? The Monarchs come out and win their first ever game in the NCDC. So first of all, hats off to the Monarchs. I pull my hat off, but again, we got hat hair because again, we were in this golf tournament this morning. But the Monarchs come out and they grab themselves a huge W in game one. Dominating W. Connecticut answers back with a win of their own, but just how good did the Monarchs look in their opener there?
They look great. The Monarchs, again, is that team that we watched last year, and we saw what they were capable of. They jumped out to that early 10-0 start, and then when it was announced they were joining the NCDC, we both kind of looked at each other and said, oh, this is going to get interesting real fast.
Yeah,
because
of course.
they've got the coaching staff, the facilities are gorgeous, they've got the support of the parents and the billet parents and that whole Monarchs family that's up there. So, to me it's no surprise they looked as good as they did with guys like Jacob Lauren, 1 goal, 1 assist in 2 games. They've spread it all out. You're looking at almost 10 players who put up at least 1 point in the opening weekend, and that to me speaks to a very well-rounded team.
It's a well-rounded team, and it's a team that, again, the NCDC development model, they used, we talked to Coach Frew last year. They came into this the right way. They wanted to start at the premier and elite levels. They wanted to really build that product from the ground up, allow those players to get a taste of USPHL hockey and just how high quality it is before taking on that NCDC challenge. They're now at the mountaintop, and they got a battle to stay on top of it. And that's what they're doing. That's what they did this weekend. But then we move over to the Connecticut Junior Rangers and Colin Sline all the time. This guy, 2 goals, 1 assist on the weekend. We watched Sline a bunch of times last year. We did a bunch of Connecticut Junior Rangers games, as well as Takato Cox with him. Takato doesn't even have a goal in the weekend. They're able to take a win. But these guys create. These guys are tough to deal with. How fun is this Connecticut Junior Rangers team when they're clicking on all cylinders?
They're a great team to watch. They're another team that loves to get the defensemen involved. You got Alex Sheehy, who had 1 assist in 2 games, but it was a power play assist.
Yeah.
Which is something that you always love to see as well. Teams taking advantage of those opportunities. Again, you've got a really well-rounded team here, I think. And it's a team that's perennially competing for top spots, always involved in some kind of matchup, week in and week out. And so this is a team that I know for us is a lot of fun to watch.
It's a lot of fun to watch. This NCDC product is great. We're going to be somewhere, Lucas, next weekend, Saturday, this weekend coming up, actually now. We're in the week. 2 days from now, 2 days from air date, Saturday night, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Hockey TV. Who will we have, Lucas? It'll be the Syracuse Stars and the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs facing off there on the ice at the Junior Bruins Shootout. with these two faces on the cameras and these two voices on the mics. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a must-watch. It's going to be a must-see matchup, an NCDC must-see matchup. And for those of you who love the power play call, somebody will eventually be on the power play. We're going to bring the power. We're going to bring the power rankings in 2 weeks. And we now are going to bring you the empty net. Welcome to the empty net. Man, do I love that empty net theme song, Lucas, but I don't love having ice water dumped on my head, so I'll try to make this empty net as long as I can possibly make it to hold out on that final punishment there. But with that in mind, let's get to the social media, the Twitter sphere, the Facebooks. And first, I'm going to start with our Hockey TV Game of the Week. We had our votes for Player of the Game, our Star of the Game. Bobby Murray had the most fan votes. But one of our rules, unless you do something absolutely unrealistic, you got to be on the winning team. So Michael Caine gets the Star of the Game. He got a handful of votes, and also the guy put up a hat trick. So a great job by Michael Caine. He used that cane to put the puck in the back of the net. Also, we had the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs reach out here as I jump into my cellular device to find things here. The New Hampshire Junior Monarchs, after we reached out to congratulate Coach Frew on their first win and talk about just how good of a series that Connecticut Junior Rangers Monarch series was, they said, thank you to the @DanK Show. Our entire organization is looking forward to hosting you guys soon enough. We are happy with the result, but there is plenty of work to do. We are just happy to be here. We're happy to be hosted by them. We're excited to go up to New Hampshire. I love that rink, the Tri-Town Ice Arena, one of the best home ice advantages in the USPHL. Moving on, we were doing predictions. Lucas predicted the Pittsburgh Vengeance would win Game 1 against the Niagara Falls Thunder. Niagara Falls had other plans. They beat them. They chirped us and chirped Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, before the game, reached out and said, we think this one's going to be a bit of a nail-biter, guys. I say Pittsburgh Vengeance 17, Niagara Falls Thunder 0. And that's for those of you who don't know, the younger folk, that's going back to Bill Swirsky's super fans, and anybody who's referencing the Swirskys is good with us here, but Pittsburgh unable to get the first win. We're able to get a split, though, out of it. Then Kosa Yusuf posted from one of my favorite movies ever. He posted a heavyweights gif to me about the come here you devil log, when he picks up the log, puts it over his head, because I said I eat success for breakfast with skim milk. We had a lot of great times, a lot of great fun on Twitter, but Kosa also had a question for us after that.
Yeah, he asked us, what would you guys bring to a potluck, or do you have a favorite dish that you want to be at a potluck?
Favorite dish that I'd want to be at a potluck or that I would bring to a potluck? I'm probably going to go out there. I love making meatballs. You know what I mean? There's something about when you're not even dealing with the spaghetti, the pasta of the world, something about making meatballs, or maybe I got to go, no meatballs, let's do this. How about a kielbasa? I'm going with a bunch of kielbasa, little sauteed onion jam there with a little pepper, put it underneath it, and put a bunch of links of kielbasa out there. I'll live on kielbasa all day.
Well, so when I go to potlucks, I always love seeing the variety, right? I always love seeing people making whatever they're making, and I like to try a little bit of everything. You'll always catch me with like 8 different things, but like maybe this much of each thing. But if I'm bringing stuff to a potluck, I get 2 recipes.
Cool.
I've got my pulled pork, which takes about 12 hours.
It's good.
So it takes a while. But I do love making it. I have woken up as early as 2 a.m. to make sure that it is ready for a kickoff or for somebody's birthday or a special request. And it's getting specially requested a lot more. And it's a lot of time spent, over a grill or over a fire. But I love doing that. I also love making potato salad, or German style, so a little less mayo, a little more brown mustard with maybe some horseradish or a little vinegar in it, I think is nice and light. Sometimes potato salad can get too heavy, so I figure, why not just bring my own?
Hey, you say potato, I say patata, but I love the ideas. I think the kielbasa is a little better. And then finally, the last one I'm going to put up there right now from the Twitter's world is the Minnesota Moose. We did all our predictions, and we didn't predict the Moose game, so they put a GIF up saying, hello! The Dells Ducks chirped them back after Dells did get put into predictions, and they waved to them and said hello as well. So I love the Twitter battles. Even when teams aren't playing each other, they're fun to watch. They're interesting to see. Moving to Instagram though, Lucas, I think we have a Decatur Blaze picture that we even reached out to and said this has to make the show.
Yeah, and then it's going to get thrown up right now so you can take a look at it. The Decatur Blaze were running a caption or not a caption contest. They were running an Instagram contest where they were putting up baby or young pictures when their players were much younger, and the goal was to guess the player. And at this point, it's going to be the contest. I believe is still not over.
The rabbit in the picture. My question is the rabbit there all day and there were multiple pictures being taken? Because that's tough to keep a rabbit in one place. Rabbits move. They circulate. They're not just going to stand still for you. Or is that like one picture? All that setup was done just for one picture with that rabbit.
I mean, I have no idea. As long as I think as long as the rabbit isn't playing hockey for the Decatur Blaze,
doesn't really matter.
I feel like we should be okay. Although, I feel like I'd be more impressed if the rabbit was able to skate at the Blaze, because they're a pretty quick team.
They're a pretty quick team, but the rabbit, fast as a rabbit, you know what I mean? They could do some things out there on the ice. It's going to be tough to deal with him. He's so small, you know what I mean? They say the rise of the rat in hockey, right? Then maybe it's the rise of the rabbit now. Maybe that's what it's going to be. But the Decatur Blaze, great work on your Instagram there. Instagram, it's the future. That's what we're doing. Producer Lena's been doing a lot of work for us, getting us some good pictures there. Go to the Dan K Show Instagram at @Dan K Show is our Instagram. Go follow us there. Lots of good content. Every time we're going on these trips, we'll have stories throughout our day. You can kind of follow along with us, find out where we are, what we're doing. Go to Twitter at @Dan K Show. Over 117 followers since I challenged you to get us to 500, and that is in 6 days. In 6 days, we are moving, we are matriculating, and we are growing our viewer base. Facebook, we have also grown by 102% in the last month. We want to keep growing though. We want to grow with you. We want to bring you what you want, and that's what this Empty Net's all about. Please keep reaching out to us at @Dan K Show Instagram, at @Dan K Show Twitter, at Dan K Show on Facebook. Lucas, the only thing left to do is to pour a bucket of ice water on my head, but before that, that'll be your parting motions. What are your parting words? He is excited to get this next portion of the show done. I am not. I will take a deep breath and hope for the best. But until then, when Dan K is on the mic, it's always Hockey Night. We are live here, Dan K Show fans. I am trying to act excited and happy, but I'm not. It is dusk. It is actually pretty chilly out. It's about 60 degrees right now. Producer Lena on the camera is shivering, so sorry if it's shaking at home. You guys got us over 500 followers, and it's time for Lucas to put some ice in a bucket, some water in a bucket, and Lucas, take it away. Let's do this. It's gonna be cold, folks. Oh, it's gonna be cold. Woo! Ah! Keep going. Are we done?
Yeah, that's it.
It's cold. It's very cold. My hat's cold. I've kept myself calm. It's now, I said 60 before at the beginning of this thing. The temperature's probably come down a bit. I'm going to say it's about 32 right now in my general vicinity. Lucas, how'd that feel? Did that feel like 500 followers worth of ice?
Yeah, I kind of want to do that again for like 550, 555, 560, really every small milestone.